Hello Dragon Wisps, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be covering the Elven Race in the continuation of the Dungeons & Dragons tutorial videos. Don't mind the green screen, I was recording a different video for Nerds Without Consequences, so yeah, it's there. So anyway, let's get right into it, shall we? So the first thing you need to know about elves is that, well, they're tall and graceful, right? They're fair, attractive, I guess, to other races, as well as elves. But they've generally got a superiority complex, you know? Elves are better than everybody, blah, 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 blah. So, I guess we can get right into the elven racial traits. So the first thing is ability scores. Elves, because of their grace and nimbleness, they get a +2 to their dexterity. However, because their bodies aren't as hardy and they're more frail, they get a -2 to their constitution. Now, generally, this tends to lean the elves more towards like rangers or even like spellcasters like wizards and sorcerers, because they're able to dodge more or without wearing armor. Helps their archery if you choose to do a ranged ranger, but makes them much less suited for things like fighter, barbarian. But it doesn't mean that the martial classes aren't used at all. Sometimes you want to switch things up and make things a little more difficult for yourself. So you'll make the elven fighter. Now there is a half-elf available, which doesn't suffer these negatives because of their generally assumed human side. Of all the races, humans tend to be the ones that breed with elves. I don't know which race's preference that is, but anyway, they're medium-sized, like most basic races, like your human and your dwarf, your orc, half-orc. So their land speed is generally 30 feet, unless slowed down by armor or sped up by things like haste. They're immune to magical sleep effects, and they have a +2 racial saving throw against enchantments and spell-like abilities. Immunity to sleep is because elves don't sleep. So when the rest of the party is, sleeping, and camping, and stuff like that, the elves are meditating. Essentially, that's how they get their bonuses and stuff from the 8 hours, for example, of rest. Their racial saving throw against spells and stuff is because elves are naturally attuned to magic. They always be like, oh, the magic of the forests and stuff like that. Elves. They have low light vision, which means in low light situations like torchlight or edge of the fire, they can see twice as far as humans. They can distinguish color, unlike the dwarves with their dark vision, and they can see the details. So, low light vision, sometimes better than dark vision. Other times, not better than dark vision. It's a vicious cycle. Let's see, elves have weapon proficiency with longsword, rapier, longbow, shortbow. So, let's say you make an elven wizard. They can still use, longsword, short sword, or longsword, rapier, or the bows. And this includes the composite bows. Because of elves' natural ability with these weapons and whatnot. Unlike the dwarf, the elves don't get a specific racial weapon. I mean, that would be kind of cool, the elven sylvan bow or something. Note to myself, introduce the sylvan bow. Most of my players don't play elves, so this might actually give them an incentive. They receive a +2 racial bonus on listen, search, and spot, because, their ears are much more attuned. Their eyes can see great detail. We're walking past some, let's say, some brush. They're like, this has been disturbed recently. Stuff like that. And then we have the languages. Elves come naturally with Common and Elven, and if your DM is one of those, you have a specific list to choose from for your bonus languages, and you can't deviate. Elves have Draconic, Gnoll, Gnome, Goblin, Orc, and Sylvan. That way they know the languages of their friends, their enemies, their frenemies, and the dragons, which, depending on the lore you follow, are the source of all the world's magic. Plus, it's found in a lot of, secret ancient tomes, and elves, with their longevity, tend to have access to a lot of these ancient secrets. And their favorite class is the wizard. So if you're multi-classing and one of your classes is wizard, you're not suffering the XP penalty. Now, half-elves, half-elves get a lot of the same bonuses. However, when it comes to the listen, search, and spot, they only get a +1, because, their blood is thinned out, so they're kind of more out of tune. Let's go with that word, that term, out of tune, with their abilities. But they get a +2 bonus on diplomacy and gather information, because they get along well with other people naturally. That's all about their half-blood, right? They have elven blood, so all effects that would affect an elf. So, if you've got a ranger whose favorite enemy is elves, half-elves would be included, as well as whatever their other half is. Plus, they have access to any bonus languages, apart from Druidic, because Druidic is very specific. And then they also don't have a favorite class. So they're treated as human on that aspect. Now, on to the... Honestly, I also don't play elven characters. They tend to not be my style, because, like I said, they're more suited to magic users and stuff, so I really don't have any. I mean, I've got some NPCs I made, but that's about it. It's kind of weird. So I guess that's it for that video. I believe the next one I'm going to cover is gnomes, so feel free to tune in for that. So right about now, as usual, you should be getting a subscribe button up here, latest video on the channel over here, video recommended for you YouTube over here, and a playlist of the Dungeons & Dragons tutorials down there. So, thank you for joining me, and as always, have a peaceful day. Bye.